All right, and we back on the forecast. So everybody's been talking about the Starbucks incident where the two brothers were racially profiled and the manager called the police. And the police decided to arrest these two brothers for being in a Starbucks.
How may I help you?
Hi, I have two gentlemen at my cafe that are refusing to make a purchase or leave. I'm at the Starbucks at 18th and Spruce.
All right, please, I'll be on as soon as possible.
Thank you. Bye.
There is a disturbance at the Starbucks. Group of males inside causes a disturbance. We got 9 by 3, 9 by 23 at 24 location. They're requesting another unit along with a supervisor.
Me and 23 and 24 to headquarters. And 9, 13 is going to be transporting.
I 1-4. I got 2 males. Last 3 are going to be 107.
Don't get no fight with them. Don't get no fight with them. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, what did they get called for? Because there are two black guys sitting here meeting me? Yes. Well, what did they do? What did they do? Did someone tell me what they did?
They didn't do anything. I saw the entire thing.
They didn't. What did they do?
Nothing. And the woman says for paying customers only and after us leave. They didn't do anything.
The two men who were arrested inside a Starbucks are breaking their silence. They say they were given absolutely no explanation when they were put in handcuffs and placed in a squad car after a Starbucks manager called 911 and accused them of loitering. The two men handcuffed at Starbucks are speaking out. Their names are Rashawn Nelson and Dante Robinson, and they spoke to GMA's Robin Roberts.
Thank you very much for being here.
Nelson, seen here in the video, says he asked to use the restroom as soon as he walked in. He says the Starbucks manager told him it was for paying customers only. He says within 2 minutes of their arrival, the manager called 911.
I have two gentlemen at my cafe that are refusing to make a purchase or leave.
When Philadelphia cops got to the Starbucks, the men explained they were waiting for this friend to discuss a real estate deal.
So when they do approach you, what do they say and how do you react?
Well, initially, as soon as they approach us, they just said we have to leave. There was no question of, was there a problem here between you guys and the manager? What happened?
When you were arrested, did they tell you what you were being arrested for?
No, not at the time. He wasn't read any rights. Nothing. Just double lock, handcuffs behind our back, and escorted out and put into a squad car.
What do you say to some people who say rules are rules, that Starbucks has a policy, you violated that policy. The police asked you repeatedly to leave, and you didn't. How do you respond to people who say that?
What I say is I understand that. Rules are rules, but what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
Philadelphia Police Commissioner Richard Ross is speaking out today after defending the arresting officers.
The issue of race in this situation is not lost on me, and I should not at all be the person that is a party to making anything worse relative to race relations. Shame on me if in any way that I've done that.
Starbucks will close 8,000 stores on May 29th for a day to offer racial bias training to all 175,000 employees. The store closures could reportedly cost Starbucks $12 million in lost revenue. The men who were not charged have not said if they will be filing lawsuits against Starbucks or the Philadelphia Police Department.
Now, these brothers who were just waiting in the Starbucks for somebody else to come, and the manager said since they didn't buy anything, they couldn't use the bathroom, the manager decided to kick them out. Now, I seen a couple comments of people saying, well, the manager was black, so it couldn't be racist. Now, anytime they make claims like these, you gotta call them out on it. Now, people with that mentality love to just make shit up. They just pull it out of their ass. But if you ever ask them for any kind of source for that information, they will never be able to provide one. The media has protected this person's identity because it's most likely a white woman. If it was a black person, the first thing they would have said is, this could not be racist because the person was black. But anytime they make something up, just ask them for proof. And then they'll go away or either try to deflect and go to something else. But they'll go out of the way to try to justify racism and racial profiling. When it's black men being arrested, They say, well, a business should be able to do whatever they want. But let a black business say, for black people only, they'll be the first ones crying, talking about white people today are the most discriminated against. But then you had the owner come out and apologize and say, well, we'll have training classes and shut down for a day.
Protests and calls for a boycott. Now the CEO of Starbucks says he promises to fix all of this. We learned just a few minutes ago, actually, that the Starbucks manager who called the police because 2 African-American men had not placed an order is no longer working at that store. This comes just after the men who were arrested agreed to meet with the company's CEO. Joining me right now with the very latest and how we all got here is CNN's senior national correspondent Alex Marquardt. So, Alex, what is happening with this? People are furious.
People are furious. This story isn't going away, and that's because a lot of people don't want it to go away. So what we've seen today is a large protest. In fact, at that shop, it's in Rittenhouse Square in Philadelphia. Around 100 people showed up.
Oh, it's chanting. Right there in Rittenhouse. Wow. Okay.
Yep, and they saw this apology from the Starbucks CEO, Kevin Johnson, but they wanted to show up anyway just to draw attention to it and make sure that this story does not go away. But for his part, the CEO, Kevin Johnson, has been apologizing profusely. He appeared on morning TV. He put out a video statement on their Facebook page. He put out a written statement. He called this incident absolutely reprehensible. He says, this is not who we are, and it's not who we're going to be. Take a listen.
That in certain circumstances, local practices are implemented. In this particular case, the local practice of asking someone who is not a customer to leave the store, and unfortunately then followed by a call to the police. Now, certainly there are some situations where the call to police is justified, situations where there's violence or threats or disruption. In this case, none of that existed. These 2 gentlemen did not deserve what happened, and we are accountable. I am accountable.
Messaging is important, and I fail miserably in this regard.
Despite that admission, Commissioner Richard Ross again defended the actions of his officers when they arrested 2 black men at this Starbucks last week. It was captured on video.
Well, what did they do? What did they do? Did someone tell me what they did?
They didn't do anything.
Ross said this on Facebook over the weekend.
It is important to emphasize and underscore that these officers had legal standing to make this arrest. These officers did absolutely nothing wrong.
But today, he took the blame for making what he said was a bad situation worse.
I can appreciate, in light of the Starbucks policy and how well known it is to many, why these 2 men were appalled when they were asked to leave. For this reason, I apologize to them.
The 2 men, Rashawn Nelson and Dante Robinson, told their story to ABC.
We're at the table. We sit down. We're just talking amongst each other. Not at the time. We wasn't read any rights. Nothing. Just double lock, handcuffs behind our back, and escorted out and put into a squad car.
Starbucks has apologized to the men and will be training all of its employees on how to avoid discriminating against customers. Lori Friedel trains police on the subject.
I think after they get the training, a person will be able to stop and ask themselves, would I be responding this way to this person in Starbucks?
Well.
Right, so he's taking responsibility there. He also explained that they have 28,000 stores around the world, and each store or each region has different standards, if you will. But there are common standards across the company, of course. Johnson said that they will be retraining the managers on those guidelines, but also, most importantly, on unconscious bias.
Now, they've been doing bias training classes for 30 years now. But all that's done is make more white people say we're the ones discriminated against because we got to take a training class. But this owner apologized because he did not want to lose business. It has nothing to do with the right thing. It has everything to do with money. And there are so many black people like, well, I need my vanilla mocha latte. So I show him glad he apologized because I'd hate to have to boycott his business. It's like all we needed was an excuse to give him a pass. And for us to keep giving passes away so easily, it's going to be hard for us to dismantle a white supremacist system. I heard somebody say, if Starbucks cared about the issues so much, why weren't they down in Flint helping, passing out free water or something? How about instead of shutting down business for 1 day for a training class, how about you take 1 day a month and donate the profit to help develop the black economy? I don't even go to Starbucks, but if they did that, I might accept their apology. And I'm not saying one person represents everybody, but we have to understand how many people call the police on us. They call the police on us all the time. For walking down the street, for sitting on a park bench, for walking past their house or car. They call the police all the time. And the police show up with the same mindset as the people who called the police. And the thing is, I think businesses should be able to discriminate against who they want to discriminate against. If they don't want to serve me, I would rather them tell me up front than be forced to serve me. That way it's easier to know who I should give my money to and who I shouldn't. To me, there are three main times when it matters when you're a racist. If you have anything to do with the government, from the president to the lawmakers to the police, down to the CO. It matters if you're in any position of power, where you have the government backing you up. It matters if you're somebody like George Zimmerman. He racially profiled Trayvon Martin and ended up killing him. If you cause harm because you racially profile somebody, it matters. And that includes calling the police on somebody who you're racially profiling. And the third one, which to me isn't as important as the first two, if you're in a financial position, like you give loans, like if you hire people for a company, or if you discriminate and choose not to serve me because I'm black. Now, it matters because our economy was systematically attacked and destroyed. But to me, it's less important because we need to be building our own economy anyway. We need to be funding our own businesses and doing what we got to do for ourselves. We need to be educating our own children. During segregation, our people were forced to become millionaires because they didn't accept black dollars. So we had to create our own businesses for ourselves. And we could only support each other because nobody else would accept our money. The difference between now and then is we have the illusion that people accept us now. They accept our money, but they don't accept us. The difference is we're not in control of our own economy. We handed it over to them. Today, we have the illusion of inclusion. And that's one good thing about Trump. He's starting to wake us up about what the truth really is out here and how they really feel. Because they've always felt this way. The children of the civil rights movement, our parents, their generation was the only generation that probably believed that white people had changed and weren't as bad as they were. They were the first to go to integrated schools. But as the grandkids of the civil rights movement, we see what that has gotten us. We allowed them into our relationships and into our homes, which they destroyed. We allowed them into our economy and our businesses, which they destroyed. And they were able to get black people into a relaxed mentality. And as the grandkids of that movement, now we have all kinds of confusion. We're back on that tribalism mindset instead of being united in one cause like our grandparents were. A lot of people in our parents' generation was on that pull yourself up by the bootstraps, stop blaming the white man thing, while excusing the fact that they beat you up, took your boots, burnt your house down, took all your money so you can't get another pair of boots. They ignore that part. But there is no amount of classes that will change anything. Why would they give up power? If they're in control, why would they give that up just to do the right thing by you? If they haven't done that for hundreds of years, what makes you think they're going to start now? They got mad at Obama, who did more to help poor white people than he did to help black people. He got in trouble for saying Trayvon Martin would look like him, which he would have looked like him. I don't even know if he once identified himself as black. Yet the backlash of Obama led to Donald Trump. They still call him all kinds of monkey. They still call him nigga. And he did more for them than he did for us. At the end of the day, we're all we got. And we can easily change our circumstances. We can nominate the most successful black men, black women, black people who are the most successful in business and elect a board strictly in charge of funding and helping grow black businesses. The black businesses that already exist, help them, put them in our community so we can all support them and grow and in turn give us jobs. And to create more black businesses. And we can all contribute to it right now, whether you got $1, $100, $1,000, we all can contribute to it. We give so much money away. We can easily put it in a focused direction to grow our economy. Then we can create things like our own schools, our own police force to protect ourselves. We can build our own communities. But until we put aside that tribalist mindset and giving so many excuses because we don't want to fight against this power because it seems hopeless, because we've accepted white supremacy at this point, we're still going to be marching and complaining and crying and begging 100 years from now, doing the same things over and over and over.
How you doing, bro? What's your name? Weston. Weston, nice to meet you, sir. Did anybody tell you that you look like someone? No. No? You never got that? Yeah. Have you purchased anything in here, sir?
No, but I was just about to go.
You about to go purchase something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but before you made a purchase, they let you use the restroom, right?
I just typed in, I asked for the code.
You asked for the code and they just gave it to you, right? Before you made a purchase?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Come on, let's go. Are you done? Were you about to get something?
Well, I was going to get food.
Oh, you're going to get food? Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is Weston. And Weston hadn't made a purchase yet, you guys. So I would like Starbucks right here on Redondo, Artesia, and Hawthorne. This man right here said he hasn't made. He said he hasn't made. A purchase. Yeah, he's in line to make a purchase, and you guys haven't. You guys had gave him the code, right? Isn't that what you did? No, this is not your business. This is not your business. This is not your business, though. Okay, you may be the store manager, but you're not the. You're not in charge. I'm not allowed to be in here anymore. Why? You see, they're so mad. Why are they upset with me, Weston? What did I do? I just tried to use the bathroom like you did, and they gave it to you. Is it my skin color? 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 I can use the bathroom, but Weston could. Amen. I feel it may be my skin color. Hey, but this is about to be on social media.
LA Fitness Sea Caucus. I've been having multiple problems with this club. I got my membership right here. I scanned in. I was asked to scan in again for no reason. I'm the only person in the gym they asked to scan again. And I have my membership. I've been a member here for at least 8 years. They got the cops here. You got the police here. Excuse me, what's your name? It don't matter. They'll know who you are. All right, here. Go ahead, scan it. I told you I scanned it with your manager, right? Go ahead, scan that. And they call the police for this. Police right here. What that say on screen? Have a nice day. Can we go work out now? Have a very nice day. LA Fitness Sea Caucus again. LA Fitness Sea Caucus again.
Dude, you're not allowed to film.
Why not?
Let's put that over. Okay, now we definitely. Let's figure this out, all right?
I do want to figure out.
We're gonna get the contract.
Police officers here for what reason?
We're just here, man.
I'm not gonna pay. We've had problems with this staff for months now. Several people, not just me. You got several emails from corporate about this stuff.
I get it. You guys don't like cell phones. I get it. But it's not criminal activity.
Exactly. Just like you kicking me out the gym for no reason.
That's company policy.
Just like you kicking me out the gym for no reason. Ridiculous, man. Working out by myself and this lady too.
And you want them to vacate. Now my sergeant explained something. He's going to show the contract where it says they can be kicked out at any time.
For no reason. For no reason.
I cannot make you stop filming.
I didn't argue with anybody. I didn't do anything to anybody. Ridiculous. And we're only 2 black people in the gym. Let's make this a black thing. We're only 2 black people in the gym. Only 2 black people in the gym. Been having problems with this staff for months over nothing. Every time something new.
So yeah, for you, sir, 100% cool.
My contract is being terminated. Contract is being terminated because what? Because what?
I don't have the answers.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows my contract is being terminated. The manager doesn't like me, so my contract.
We're gonna write the case on down for you that we came here for.
Absolutely, no problem.
Why not? Let's put that over. Okay, now we definitely. Let's figure this out, all right?
I do want to figure out. We're
gonna get the contract.
Police officers here for what reason?
That's the voice of Tashrad Oates in an exchange with a manager, there in the black shirt, and 2 other employees at the LA Fitness Gym in Secaucus. Another unidentified gym employee confirms directly to Pix 11 News the events captured in Oates' now viral cell phone video. That the 25-year-old and his friend, both of whom are black, were escorted out of the facility Sunday after, we are told, this female desk employee called the police over the sign-in process.
I've been having multiple problems with this club. I got my membership right here. I scanned in. I was asked to scan in again for no reason. I'm the only person in the gym they asked to scan again. And I have my membership. I've been a member here for at least 8 years. They got the cops here. They got the police here.
I don't think every Starbucks should be punished because of the actions of one person. I'm an African-American man. To say all of them should be punished, it's just generalizing, just like what they do to us.
Zane Corbin knows Oates. He says similar to the headline-grabbing encounter in a Philadelphia Starbucks, where a manager there called the police on 2 black visitors, it may not be appropriate to blame the entire company. However,
they definitely need to have training for managers. What happened was unacceptable, and it can't happen again, and it should not happen again.
Oates declined to speak with us, apparently on the advice of his newly retained attorney. An employee inside the gym confirms to Pix 11 News the manager in the video, the desk worker, and a third employee, all involved in calling the police on Oates and his friend, have been fired.
Won't leave me alone, like for real though.
I'm just asking a question.
Asking me ignorant questions, like, oh, you didn't know what hospital it is? All that took for me to say is, yes, my mother knows what hospital it is, and now he's gonna say, no, I want you to tell me what hospital it is. No, I'm not obligated. I'm not obligated to tell you nothing.
Okay, I'm just asking a question. Okay, you're right. I'm asking you what hospital this is.
Read it. Freedom of speech.
Get off the phone. Shut up. Get off.
All right, here you go.
Get off the phone. Let's go.
Here you go.
Come on. Let's go.
What do you mean?
I was just trying to be nice to you.
I know.
Thank you.
Hey, tell my father you touched me, dog. Bro, guys, you on me. Oh, you fucking crazy. Tell me.
Get down. Get down. Get down.
Son, you told me my face.
Hey, just get down.
Give me your fucking hand. Give me your hand. Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
Just give him the hand. Give him the hand.
Give me your face.
Yeah, cuffs. Yeah. Okay.
I'm talking about one, dog. You put me in my face 4 times, dog.
Yeah, I think I get you some more.
Niggas. Touch you.
Get the other hand.
Oh,
the other hand. All we asking is the other hand.
Study, dog. Oh, yeah, I heard somebody recorded this. You told me my face for no reason, dog.
Yeah.
I'm suing y'all niggas. We were having a verbal conversation. We was having a verbal.
Why are you here?
Get on my face, dog. Dog, get off my face. I'm getting it right. I was just came to the hospital, dog. Get off me. Stop.
Hey, tighten it.
Get off me, man.
Hey, he's bleeding.
What are
Watch
y'all
out.
doing, dog? Get off me. Hey, dog, I swear to God, man.
Hey, watch out.
I'm suing against you, dog. You hit me 4 times in my face for no reason.
I'm going to say something outrageous today. Starbucks, any business, any private business, should be able to send anyone out they want if they don't like the way they look, if they don't feel right. This whole subconscious racism thing with the Starbucks. Look, and I don't know the manager. I don't know what's in their heart, right? I don't know whether they thought those guys looked like they might be getting ready to rob the place. I don't know, right? But clearly, the white folk in that room defended them, right? And then you have the marketplace reacting. We shouldn't have laws anymore about this. We should let the marketplace. If I want to keep out new Black Panthers, right, who come into my place, that's my right. I know it's my business. What's wrong with that?
Well, the problem is, what's wrong with that is it's unconstitutional. And it is against the law of the land to discriminate against anyone, especially because of their race. So racial discriminatory practices are not only unconstitutional, they're illegal.
But what's discriminatory about it, Quavo?
Well, let's talk about that. You had 2 black men sitting in Starbucks. They had not ordered yet. And the manager felt that they were 2 men sitting there who had not placed the order, and the manager got afraid that perhaps they're here for some other nefarious reasons or activity, and so she called, or the manager called, the police. The police came, arrested both men for trespassing.
Because they refused to leave.
But they told the police we're waiting on a 3rd person before we place our order. While the police was there, the 3rd person walks up, and that black man was arrested. This was nothing more than a classic case of racial profiling, and now Kevin Johnson, the CEO of Starbucks, who's been a quote-unquote big-time liberal supporter, is now saying, I want to meet with you, and let's find a good way to fix this problem.
What's wrong with that?
But yet, the CEO, Mr. Johnson, will not fire the manager for the racial profiling and calling those black men to be caused victims of an arrest that was illegal and false. That manager should not only be fired, Starbucks should cover all of the legal expenses for those brothers being falsely arrested.
All right. Well, first of all, they weren't falsely arrested if they refused to leave a place, and the Starbucks. If Starbucks wanted to press charges, the police didn't do anything wrong. They came here. The manager said they were trespassing. They refused to leave. They got arrested.
But the police are not the problem here. The problem is the racial profiling by the manager and Kevin Johnson, CEO of Starbucks, refusing to say what the discipline is for that manager. Mr. Johnson, you should fire the manager. To you three brothers who were arrested, I would not meet with Mr. Johnson until that manager is fired. Because if he doesn't fire the manager, he ain't doing a damn thing to truly send a message that Starbucks has a zero tolerance policy for racial profiling.
I say let the marketplace decide these kind of things. I don't think there should be any laws regarding this. I think it's your private business. Look, I think it's outrageous. If someone was thrown out because they were black.
What you're doing, you're really trying to justify racial segregation.
No. I'm not. I think it's disgusting that any business would throw out anyone.
That's what you just said earlier. You just said they should have a right to do it.
No, I think
now you want to clean it up now.
No, a private company should have the right to say, I don't want you in my business.
Go on back home and put on your Klan hood and come back. So everybody can really just see the truth.
Really?
Come on, get your Klan hood and come on back to the set.
All right, I'll borrow yours.